Good evening. We are Boomer Rex tonight. I have Mr. Boomer Rex himself here.
Was I somebody different last night?
And asshole.
You're someone different every time you sleep.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen. And we have another interesting show for you tonight. We're going to start off talking about Pompeii. There's some new information. Some archaeologists.
No, I thought this was interesting.
Yeah, it sounded
That
interesting.
archaeologists have found the remains of a slave room, right? So this room is 170 square feet.
Mhm.
It's got 3 little beds in it. 2 of them appear to be adult. 1 of them appears to be child. And it turns out it looks like it wasn't just, their quarters. It was also a storeroom, because over in the corner are 8 amphora of whatever, right? So I thought it was interesting that we found these, what would have been considered insignificant people, right?
Yeah.
This is what their life was. And so they believe that they were the folks who took care of the chariot and the horses.
Oh,
And
interesting.
there was a wooden box in the room with them, which contained what they think are the remains of the harness for the chariot. And on one of the beds was the rod for the chariot, right?
All right.
It goes between.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, it's just,
Nice.
I found it interesting that we had found something, some remnant of these people who lived so long ago, right? And, we're not kings and queens and princes or whatever. They were servants.
Yeah.
Right.
And so anyway, I just thought it was kind of neat.
No,
If
and
I ever go to Pompeii, I want to go see their room.
Right?
Oh yeah, no. I've always been intrigued by Pompeii and that whole
And a good day for
thing.
anthropologists. I
Yeah.
get all of the things out of this.
Yep. And they found the remains of the horses too. So, and
Oh,
the
that's-
carriage. They found the carriage.
Oh,
So
wow.
Yeah.
anyway, so
Just
a
interesting.
little
yeah.
slice of life
Yeah.
preserved at Pompeii. Well, a little slice of death preserved at
Yeah.
Pompeii.
Speaking of disasters, let's get into. You said you had some things you wanted to discuss about climate weirding again.
Well, we've been talking about climate weirding.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that always comes up is, what can I do?
Right.
Right? Okay. So one of the things that we have direct control over is our transportation, right? So the question comes up, is driving an electric car, is that going to save me money? Is that going to save CO2, right? And it's an interesting question, because the initial production of an EV car, right, they're heavier. They're heavier because they have batteries in them,
Right.
right? And the CO2 cost of a vehicle is roughly equivalent to its weight, right? In the metal weight that goes into the car.
Sure.
Because we use electricity to refine metals, and that makes CO2. Fine.
Right.
So you start out a little bit behind on the CO2 scale, right? At about 20,000 miles, you're going to break even on the CO2, roughly. And from there on, every mile you drive, right, you are increasing the amount of CO2 that you have saved, right? Now, as to the question of saving money, well, yeah. Whether or not you save money depends on what you buy, what the incentives were, right? Were there federal incentives, et cetera, et cetera? What's the cost of gas where you live? What is the cost of electricity where you live?
Right.
But in general, just in terms of the cost of fuel, you're going to save between $300 and $1,000 a year on your fuel, right? If you're using electric
So it's not a
instead of
ton,
gas.
but it's a little bit of money. Yeah.
Right,
It's
and it
still more
adds up
money in your
over a
pocket.
15-year lifetime of the car.
Right.
All right. But the other thing you have to remember is that, some of these electrics are pretty expensive.
That's
Right.
one of my question is if any of them were not a silly ass price.
I'm keeping an eye on the Chevy Bolt, right? Which is this is going to be a real production car.
Yeah, no, I looked
Right.
at the list of cars that are at least reputed to be coming down the pipeline, right? There's an electric F-150, there's a number of pickup trucks, 400-mile range on a couple of them, but they're at least made from companies I've heard of. It's not somebody's Kickstarter, it's not Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, one of the comparisons I saw was a Tesla 3 versus a BMW 330i.
Yeah.
We're talking about two cars that I would never consider buying,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the question of the cost of gas and electricity and so forth, you said with the Tesla, right? You save lots.
There's a BMW, which
You save lots of CO2, right? Starting at 20,000 miles. But if you're talking about price, so it's going to cross over at about 10 years of ownership. This is assuming 12 to 13,000 miles a year. It's going to cross over at about 10 years of ownership at $77,000, which I'm sorry. I know when I was born, I know when I was brought up, but $60,000 an idiotic price for any vehicle.
Yeah, I'm not paying
Right.
that kind of money for any car.
If I were going to pay that kind of money, right, I'm going to go get an Alpha 4C.
Yeah.
Right, which might actually be fun to own. Completely impractical, but fun to own. But that also brought up the other side of this, which is, right, if you're trying to save money and you're trying to save some CO2, one of the ways of doing that is to buy a little tiny, inexpensive gasoline-powered car because they tend to be lighter, they tend to be efficient, right?
Right.
And so there are a whole range of cars whose average miles per gallon is over 40, which is really good,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can buy them for several of them for less than $20,000. So you save a bunch of money and you save CO2. Yes, it's an internal combustion engine, but unlike, some pickup truck getting 14 miles to the gallon,
Or less.
you're
yeah.
getting, well, on the highway, you're getting 45 in some cases, right?
Right.
So there are other ways than going EV if you don't want to have an EV or you don't have the money for an EV.
Right.
So anyway. And if you're really adventurous, I didn't know they were available. Mitsubishi makes a little tiny 3-engine. Makes a little tiny car with a 3-cylinder, like 78 horsepower, right? That gets fabulous mileage, right? So interesting. I don't know if they've got local service or even where you could buy one, but I found that an interesting idea. And then right above that, right, there are any number of Korean or Japanese cars.
electric motorcycles for
Oh.
all your Mad Max needs.
there you
Electric
go.
motorcycles are an interesting idea,
Mhm.
and that's a way to think of pushing cars, right? Because we drive around in these 2,000-pound monsters, right?
But it's what everyone's parents had, so it's what everyone's first car was like, was some monolithic creature.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Except my little Alfa Romeo had a curb weight of
Oh, yeah.
2,100 pounds,
Yeah.
right?
What's a
And
new
was fun to
Alfa
drive
Romeo
and got
cost?
fabulous mileage. But we keep making these heavy cars, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they do better in the crash tests and so on, right? But if you think about it, you could get down to what amounts to an electric motorcycle or, fancy enclosed bicycle that would get phenomenal electric mileage and be simple and light and easy to fix and so on. So we haven't finished thinking about how to do transportation, and we shouldn't stop, right? We don't need these gigantic cars to drive from place to place in a city, right? If this is your second car, electric's fine. You're going to bring it home and plug it in, and by tomorrow morning, it'll be ready to go again,
Right.
right? Do you want to take them on a trip right now? I'd like to hear if you've been on a trip in an electric car
Mhm.
and can talk about, how easy it is to find fast charging stations and so forth. Drop us a comment and we'll get in touch with you and we'll talk about it, because that's one of the things people are just terrified of,
Right.
and why single car families are very unlikely to buy an electric, because they live in terror that they'll have to drive 1,200 miles and won't be able to.
Well,
the weird ass fancy new thing will break.
While you're commenting, don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends while you're at it. But yes, I think
Share it with
that
people who hate you.
While we're talking about braking, the thing about electric cars is they have dramatically fewer moving parts.
I know.
They are,
Yeah.
in terms of reliability, there shouldn't be a lifetime on an electric car,
Yep.
right? Batteries, that's going to be your concern. What's the lifetime of the battery? We'll have places that snatch up your dead battery and put in a new one, fine. The one caution I would urge is that keep an eye on battery life. If you live in the Southwest, keep an eye on battery lifetimes measured specifically in the Southwest.
What's that?
The high temperature.
No. What about
Right.
low temperature? From kids from Minot, or just screw you, Minot? You know why.
I don't know about deep freeze.
Okay.
Routinely low temperatures reduce the capacity of the battery. And if you have to warm the battery to get the capacity back, right? Okay, you've gotten some capacity back, but you also paid some miles for warming up the battery. But typically it doesn't destroy them. I don't know about extended deep freeze.
If you do, let us know.
But high temperature has definitely been a problem for the early ones, and I don't know about the current ones. Maybe they're super better. And I have friends who have Teslas. I'll ask them.
So maybe in the Southwest, if you have a garage that you can put the car in and maybe park it under somewhere so
Yep.
it's in the shade, sounds like it might be a better option than just leaving it
Yep.
in the sun.
Well, and again, the other thing to think about in the Southwest with an electric car is we've got sunshine, right?
On
You
a
can buy
cloudy day.
you can buy a set of solar panels that will keep your car charged. Okay, so now your fuel is free, right? And not only that, but you've got a charged battery that you might be able to do something interesting with. And some of the electric vehicles have fairly substantial outlets in the vehicle, right? Like 30 amp, 120 volt kind of outputs.
Nice.
You can plug a trailer into that,
Huh.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
So-
true.
Be careful what you run, yeah.
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 So,
And if you're in a trailer, you know to be careful what you run.
Hell
You're trying
yes.
to do. You're not playing Xbox and microwaving things. Don't be dumb.
we run our camper on a 100-watt panel,
Yeah.
right? And it keeps our lights on, it keeps our electronics charged,
For sure.
right? So,
If that were my daily,
yeah, no, I
it'd be
understand.
Mad Max in like a month.
Yeah.
Whether the other people acknowledge it or not. Like,
Yeah.
once I jump on your car, it's pretty much.
Yeah. But we tend not to use the refrigerator, and
Don't
we
jump
use
on each other's
propane
cars.
for the stove.
Yeah.
So, but again,
And
100
I love the
watts keeps all of our electronics alive.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say you guys were very mellow during my introduction tonight. I was waiting for you to all be.
That sounds like a challenge. Challenge
Poison the coffee.
accepted.
She poisoned the coffee. Don't drink it.
So,
No, and you know what I'm going to chalk it up to, folks? I'm going to chalk it up to Sunday, which is a slow news day. And I never
God,
No,
yeah.
that
really,
probably is true.
Asshole always complained about it. And I never really thought about it because I tend to use my weekends to catch up on, TV shows and stuff. So I don't pay as much attention to the news on, Saturday, Sunday. But it was always his biggest complaint to me. And today I was looking for stuff to talk about. And I was like, it is slim pickings. We are digging to the bottom of the rung here. All I was finding was stuff about. So this one marathon runner like shit her pants while she was running and was like,
Right.
it was the best
That's
thing I ever
marathon
did. I'm
kids.
glad I did it, right?
God
And I was
love
like,
them.
well, good for you.
Someone should.
And then this other woman, they said, oh, she took 9 potty breaks and still made a personal best. And I'm like, I have more questions about why she needed 9 potty breaks. I think she needs to go to the doctor. But anyway, I didn't read the
Aren't
article.
designed to run 26 miles. That's way far.
But no,
I
it was
would not
just
run
kind
that
of
far if
like
the devil were
and
chasing
so,
me.
since it's a slow news day, way to
scraping
go,
the
Big
bottom of the
Bird,
bucket.
getting your vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out he's been getting vaccines
know, I
ever
love it.
since he was a little bird.
Yeah.
So, way to
That
go,
was super
Big Bird.
cute.
All right, you said we do actually have some interesting information going on here. You said something about the Iraqi Prime Minister.
Yeah, so the Iraqi Prime Minister, so Mustafa
Dar.
al-Kadhimi, They tried to assassinate him with a 3-drone attack.
I get 3 drones. Wow. Wow. Drones are my thing. I will nerd off at anyone if they even like start to say a word
Yeah.
that sounds like drone. I will drone on at them.
So I'm sitting
Yeah.
here going, guys, with 3 drones, what you should have is one dead prime minister.
Yeah, how the hell did you fuck this up?
So apparently, his security force killed 2 of these drones. And so my immediate question is,
Well-played security
how the hell
force.
did you kill 2 drones? So I think what we
How big are
had
these drones?
was 3 pretty damned incompetent drones, right? Flown by idiots. And probably
It's
manually
like the
flown
Three
if they got
Stooges
murdered.
of drones.
I just,
You
yeah,
should make that in it. That'd be funny. I'd watch that.
yeah. So anyway, 2 points.
Like
One
the
is it was
Skippy
not a competent attack. He'd be dead. The second is, guys, this is the second or third drone attack we've had on major political figures.
I was gonna say, I'm more curious if this wasn't. We can
A
get
false flag?
thought that. I was thinking more. Did he say something rude to somebody the day before?
No, his election is disputed by the Iranians.
Okay.
So.
That's right. They lost a bunch of seats in the
Yeah,
most recent.
yeah, and they're angry about it. So again,
But not angry enough to get it done.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm sorry. With 3 drones, yeah, they should have got the job done.
Yeah.
I'm
How do you let
shocked that his
2 of
security
your
service
drones
was able
get
to
shot down?
kill a drone on a combat mission.
Maybe this is why the Russian son of Kuhn got tricked out a window. He sold them busted drones.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Tyrrell's Hollow, right? Found in a heap next to the. We still don't know. There was.
We're not ever gonna know.
There is some kind of background chatter that this was a, kind of evening the score sort of thing within
Yeah.
the FSB.
Somebody.
So we'll keep watching it for you. Anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
The response to this kind of thing from who this guy's dad is gonna be 4 dead in gas leak
Oh yeah, I'm assuming there was.
in Istanbul or wherever. Because again, like you've got to list us up. Like
Yeah.
if you throw anyone I like out a window, my response is gonna be, "Who doesn't like me?"
Or he died of overdose of
Come here.
decadent Western drugs, and they're
No,
hiding
that's
that.
just when they tie in FBI custody. They got drunk and fell down a lot.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, the point being, they weren't in FBI custody when that happened.
They were in FBI protective custody at a public ass hotel. It was the dumbest shit.
Yes, but apparently the FBI
fine.
wasn't
Yeah,
around when
fine.
they were busy falling down. So
I mean, extra
multiple
boss.
times.
Oh, I see. I'm being forced to produce things. So I learned something that Tennessee should have told me the many times I visited as a child.
He has been raging about this all day.
Well, because it's one of those things. Like I have a very hit and miss. Like U.S. history has chunks, right? World history I'm better on, but it's as a ongoing and ever moving string of freedom thing. So there's some bits on like ours where I'm just like, oh yeah, no, that was some grimdark shit. Don't open any pages. Like, oh, the Roaring Twenties, yes, let's call it that. And oh, you've seen the thing with Gatsby, cool. Let's go with that. That's what you know about it. Let's stay there. Because if you open any door, it's orphan trains out to the Midwest where it was slave auctions.
Yep.
Damn it. It's baby farms where we learned a valuable lesson. You can't just give people a lump sum to take care of a baby. They'll just take the check. Then we won't know where the baby went.
Well, and you were specifically talking about Georgia Tann.
Georgia Tann. So Georgia Tann basically invented adoption as we know it. Big fan of the closed adoptions and stuff. And again, part of this is our society at the time, right? That we really were pushing young unwed mothers.
There's a phrase you don't hear often anymore: unwed mothers.
Yeah, no. And this lady drove a lot of that view. She starts out in Mississippi. Her dad's a judge, and we haven't talked about it much yet, but it's going to come up a lot. Class warfare, and at some level, for her, that's what this was. That she really did think being with your poor ass parents was worse than death. She did also molest a lot of these kids, so that was probably more of it. But
she used the excuse of your parents are poor, so I'm gonna put
she's
you in a better
basically-
situation.
Well, and those didn't die out. To my personal knowledge, those didn't die out until the sort of mid-ish 70s. That, you know, a girl in high school who got pregnant would disappear for, 7 months and, would then repeat a grade or whatever, but she'd come back, no baby.
Right.
You go
Never
off, have
spoken
the
of
baby.
again. Yeah.
Some of the better ones, they did their schooling, so they came back and they were in the next grade. But anyway, and they went to a private school, right? That was always the thing that was said. But to my personal knowledge, those did not die out until the mid 70s.
I believe it.
So,
But no, I was shocked because, I mean, look, I'm not saying Tennessee should put her up on every billboard, but how did I not hear about this living next door?
yeah.
At some point, somebody should be like, oh, yeah, you hear about the baby thief? And I just striking
Yeah.
5,000 kids taken. And some of them, it wasn't even under the guise of somebody had signed over their parental rights or something. It was just she lured a kid into her car because she had orders to fill. That they really did see the children as product.
Well, and you said she would go around to hospitals
Yes.
and to.
She
So,
sent
yep, go ahead.
She
Tim.
sent people who knew what their orders were, and after the women had given birth, while they were still high and recovering from all of that, they were asked to sign some, standard documents, and they'd sign them, and they'd never get their kid. So, or she'd show up and take the youngest of kids. That was the big thing, and at the same time, America was deep in eugenics, so we didn't have a lot of interest in adoption.
Yeah.
So she was one of the voices fighting against that, and she was a big fan of these are tabula rasa. They're blank slates. You can write whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Yep.
So that it is nurture over nature.
Yeah.
And good. The eugenics did not lead any of the big adherents down the road well.
No.
So no, just a terrifying and interesting thing. Already
Archie's-
knowing that the 20s was just this fun house of not much fun.
Told you not to open that door.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Maybe we want to close that and lock
Yeah.
it again.
Like and the 20s have the mine wars. The 20s have all kinds of really
Yeah.
gross things.
Yeah.
A couple of generals or guys who became generals, you know the names of, charged homeless people and one first lady that couple of times. So no, we'll see if I
No.
bump into any of those. But yeah, no, Georgia Tann. If you're ever bored and want to think, wow, the humans are really bad, and we should get rid of them.
yeah, one of the coal mines in New Mexico tried to unionize.
Yeah.
National Guard came in and killed 200 of them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The things Americans will do for money.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting
And
at
to
here.
maintain a status quo they benefit from.
Well, those days are coming back. Keep your eyes
Oh,
out.
we're there already. What do
I
you
know.
mean coming back? We've been there for a
Hey.
while.
Because how many kids got shot at Kent? You can mess up the entire boomer generation. Hey, Kent State. And like 4 kids got shot, right?
Or dead in Ohio.
Okay.
There's a song.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And they weren't there to light anybody up, or there'd be all of them dead right there.
Oh, peace. No, we marched a bunch of poorly trained guardsmen into a bad situation and the assholes panicked.
Yes, absolutely.
So-
But they didn't panic by mowing down the crowd, which
Right.
is what you'd have expected.
No, if the whole herd of them had panicked, there would have been a lot more dead.
Yeah.
So there were however many. Who
No,
panicked.
it is one of the times where it's absolutely gotten better. The state has gotten wildly
I will say I feel
less
vaguely
hesitant to use
badly
mass force.
for the one who clearly shot above the heads, right, and hit somebody in a parking lot.
That's the problem with
Right.
warning shots, and you have to know where they're going.
Yep.
Well, you're
So-
better off shooting down than up.
Peace and rapture.
Yeah,
But it's clear this was not an
Yeah.
aimed shot.
it was just that human's time.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on
Wrong
to
place, wrong time.
Western Pennsylvania. I have an interesting thing for you
What'd they do?
guys tonight. ESPN has reported on a case involving a high school hockey game. The Armstrong Riverhawks played the Mars area high
Is this
school
ice hockey or field hockey? Do
ice
we know?
hockey. Fighting Planets at the Armstrong team's Belmont Ice Arena.
Okay.
So chants were coming from students from the Armstrong students, and there was about 50 to 60 of them. And of course, this was all captured on video and posted to social media because you kids are stupid as fuck. But anyway, now what were they saying and why was this a problem, you might ask? And I say, well, they were shouting vulgarities and disparaging comments at the Mars's Fightin' Planet's female goalie. Her name is left out for her privacy and protection from further ridicule. Her coach said by the second quarter, she was in the locker room crying. None of the parents or any adults present attempted to stop the chants.
There were no adults present.
Or halt the game so the troublemakers could be removed. This event prompted Team USA Women's Hockey Olympian Megan Dugan to support the player in a tweet saying, "Every time you take the ice, women and girls all over the hockey community are proud of you. You represent so much more than the hateful words that were directed towards you." And the Mars coach says that this girl is the only goalie they have and plays varsity and JV for them. He explains that they've had several young women on the team over the years, even playing as goalies, but he's never seen this kind of hate and thing. But this is like a true first
That was
people.
my only.
It was very shocking for everybody involved. The Pennsylvania.
Apparently not shocking enough to do anything about it.
Well, and I'm getting to that. I got an opinion on that, let me tell you. The Pennsylvania Interscholastic Hockey League has since barred Armstrong students from Riverhawks hockey games and placed the team on probation for the remainder of the 2021-2022 season, including playoffs. The league commissioner says the students' actions are disgusting, quote unquote, and, quote, absolutely more than kids being kids, unquote, which I call bullshit on. This is exactly kids being kids, and the adults and other kids even needed to step in and protect this player in a situation where she couldn't do it herself, right? When you got 50 or 60 people chanting at you, what are you going to do? Get up and be, shut up, I hate you. Like, everyone's just going to laugh more. This is, this word disgusting that he uses doesn't even begin to describe how horrible this is for a teenager trying to do something they love for fun.
Yeah.
And this
disgusting.
This is just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. You could wish for a hockey ring where they didn't have the protective shield, and she could have sent a puck into them at 200 miles an hour.
Oh God, yeah. No, this is ridiculous. I mean, the fact that her teammates didn't stand up for her.
Yeah.
The other player, like even the players on the other team, didn't do anything to stop it.
Again, we said there were no adults present.
It didn't say that there were no adults present.
No, I'm telling you there were no adults present.
Okay, fine. That
by their behavior and some. The
But
fact
at the
that
very
coaches
least,
were
her
saying
team-
this is worse than the usual, which is my only one question, because hockey's notoriously about starting shit.
So, no, but I'm ashamed of her team that they didn't simply skate to their coach and say, we're done.
Yeah, we're not playing.
We're not playing.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
No,
Yep, you
the
fix this,
response is the standard.
we're
We
done.
looked very concerned, but then throw the kids off the team. Or
Right.
tell me you're looking at the crowd because there's pictures. These people are dumb.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and the school says they're going through and they're trying to figure out how they're going to handle these students and
May
such.
I recommend expulsion?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what was recommended, but the guy, the principal said that he hadn't made any. There
Yeah.
had been no decisions yet of exactly how they were going to handle
might
it,
be
but they
good
would
kids with a
handle
future
it
ahead of
within
them.
the school. Right.
Right after they find a new school to graduate from.
I wish I had that.
No, that's
No,
not.
I'm quite sure that won't.
No,
happen.
that's not going to
No.
be a thing. But it's just so.
But it's what should happen.
It's so terrible, right? That we're trying to lift our young women up, right, and give them the ability to follow their dreams and do the things they love. And here's a situation where this could have been turned into a learning moment for these students that were being shitty, right? Somebody could have stood up and been like, y'all need to shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch the game and you
Yeah.
are not helping here, right? Or in some manner attempted to stop this.
Either of the coaches would have been the perfect
Or
ones
the
to-
referee,
referee would have
or
been
I
fine.
mean
Yeah.
anybody. You know what I mean? If anybody had done anything, it would have been better than what happened. And this poor young woman is now has to deal with this, and that's and the fact that nobody supported her or tried to back her up. And this is what is terrible about this situation, right? The fact that it was allowed to continue and to play out without any assistance
Yep.
from the quote unquote adults who are supposed to be in charge of this. Like, what was the referee doing? Like, and there's more than one at a hockey game.
Collecting his paycheck. So
No. This is sports. Right? You want to do things that'll solve things. Cancel college sports and you'll reduce sexual assaults on campus by 54%.
yeah.
When we've studied it, we know what the problems are. I don't know why it is humans in sports is like this. Humans in teams are like this.
Humans and teams that see themselves as superior to or different from.
No, it's the same
I've
thing
never
we've
known
been.
a team that didn't think it was superior than whoever had the misfortune of being on the
Yeah,
other
but I tell you
side.
what, if you replace the
I
the semi-pro college sports, right, with intramural basketball, football,
Yep.
whatever,
no, I think
right,
that might
you'll
actually
have
the
healthy teams, right?
Yeah.
That,
No, it's when it's the outsider thing, and
Yeah.
and I think that allows all the rest in.
No, it's the whole concept of tribalism, which we've been discussing a lot recently,
Oh, yeah.
right? And in high school, that sort of tribalism is much more. Now, the interesting thing is that these teams are actually private teams, so parents make donations to keep it running and that sort of thing. They're not, the schools don't actually aren't directly involved in this. So this is a thing that people spend their own personal money on so that their kids can have fun. It's not, you know.
Then there's less likely anything coming of this.
Yeah, we'll see. Clearly it's oriented around the schools.
Yeah.
Right, so you've
because
got
the
a
teams are
structure there
separated
that-
by schools.
Yeah.
However, it's more the school system. So the town, right? Different towns have different.
Yeah, I
hockey
never
teams.
played any varsity sports. I don't know how that worked in high
It
school.
works, but so I was on the freshman basketball team, and it's literally if you were, in the town I lived in, and you went to that high school, you were on this team, but the team was run by the high school. Okay. This team is run outside, but I'm sure it's the same rules, right? You live in the school district. This is the team you're on.
Did they issue you uniforms and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, it was a school team.
Okay.
So
Wonder where the money came from.
taxes.
No, I don't know anything about it, so
Yeah.
nothing I say is.
No, all of my thing is geared towards arguments about the problems on campuses.
So, anyway, a sad performance was had by all.
Right.
Pretty much.
All right, so we need something to close on. I hear that there is an asteroid as big as the Eiffel Tower
Mm-hmm.
coming toward us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think I've researched it a couple of times.
It's like egg
and it's
shaped,
going to
yeah.
miss us by
a reasonable amount.
30
It's-
lunar distances or whatever.
It's not really something to be
Right.
worried about, but the interesting thing about this asteroid that they're saying is because of its orbit and how it's close enough to us, it would be good for exploration, right? That it would give us an opportunity to actually go out and be able to explore.
Let us slam some GoBots on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true of many of the so-called Apollo asteroids, that they're in orbits very similar to Earth, right? If they were to hit us, they're not hitting us at 22,000 miles an hour, right? They're going to hit us at 4,500 miles an hour, which makes them relatively easy to catch. So, yeah, we could go out and have a look.
Yeah.
Put a critter on there. Again, since the orbits are similar,
How
right?
long are the orbits?
The ones that we worry about, right, are the ones that go closer to the sun than us,
Yeah.
so that they can come back at us out of the sun.
Yeah.
Which then they're hard to find.
But for the ones they're talking about
Um,
exploring, how long are the orbits on that?
Given that, again, I'm assuming they're Apollo asteroids, So their orbits ought to be similar. A year.
Okay.
Right.
So,
And again, that's why they come back,
yeah.
right? Is because their orbits are similar to ours. So,
I just wanted there to be one whimsical fantasy in this, not two. We might be able to keep spam in a can for a year.
oh,
It's at a distance that is just laughable. Humans are going to go to, but
okay. So you were thinking of riding it for an orbit and then
if they're
coming
going to
home.
stay explorable, then I'm going to go put a flag and a monkey on it.
Okay.
Not me, obviously. I don't want to die in a tin can.
Well, I
I
toss
started at GoBots, remember?
We've already designed.
Yeah.
We've already designed a family of such robots, right? So we can put spirit and opportunity and curiosity, right? We can just put one of those. We just make another one.
Yeah.
And dump it on the asteroid as it comes by. Since it's not out where Mars is, it's going to have lots of power, right?
Yep.
So.
No, I am all for it. Partly because if we're doing space, then we're probably funding other things.
Let's see, if your orbit's not circular, I don't think you can be tidally locked, where you only have one face.
Mm-hmm.
So you must, your day may be a year, or it may be a wobble. If you were tidally locked, it would wobble as you went around, exposing much of your surface. But anyway, so even a device as simple as curiosity or spirit would have plenty of power and could run with whatever the sun angles for.
Yeah.
Right. If it got too hot, you run to I'd put them down near the Terminator.
All right, let's go futz with space rocks. I'm down.
So anyway, it'd be kind of fun.
I like robots.
Yeah.
It is at least a thing that we could eventually talk about doing. Again, I'm much more about Moon Vegas just because I think we actually can. We've done it before.
Yeah, and I would point out, no, I don't know how often the shuttle has to be resupplied, right? But we have some experience with long-term habitations like the station or the shuttle or right. So anyway, that we could put something down and again, they're not moving all that fast with respect to us. So catching them, you have to get out of the Earth's gravitational field, but it's not like trying to catch another planet.
Yeah.
Right.
So
again, part of why I like the moon, because if you're going to do things from space, do it from the moon.
Right.
You're still paying to lift everything and to sure whatever, but
once you're there, anything new you make
yeah,
is cheaper to lift.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the nonsense about, well, we're going to mine them. Yeah, no, you're not. You can't lift mining machines to do it. This is one step worse than Bitcoin in terms of they're going to say some tiny corner and be like, we think it's worth about this.
Yeah. So all you have to do is get it home. Oh, wait, you don't know how to do that.
Oh, I don't let them even talk about that. So, wait until Amazon loses your package now. It's fine. You just get another fucking bubble. Amazon loses a re-entry thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to notice.
No, probably not, because most of the world isn't inhabited and most of it's ocean and so on. But in the event it lands next door, you're going to notice.
No, I also saw an interesting thing that scientists may have found the first planet outside of our Milky Way galaxy in another galaxy using X-rays, and so they say it might take a decade or two to confirm it, but it is potential that we now might be able to find planets outside of our Milky Way galaxy, which is extremely interesting. This one was in the Mesa or something.
Okay.
I didn't write down notes, but since we were talking about the asteroid, I figured I'd mention it because it was interesting.
M51.
Yeah.
So
That's one I like.
it is pretty. Oh.
Yeah, that's the pink one, right?
They're all the pink one.
It's
No.
very seldom you see them that nicely in a telescope.
Right.
Right. You see them in Hubble pictures.
Not
they're
even what I
gorgeous.
like.
Right.
So
I like the smoke ring.
Oh,
the
yes,
smoke ring is cool.
absolutely.
I like the horse head nebula. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That actually looks good through a telescope.
Yeah.
The other one that's fun through a telescope is the Veil Nebula, which is gorgeous.
Right.
So, anyway, but you need a fairly decent sized telescope.
Only we were smart enough to put those pictures in our
Oh,
We have some.
image beast.
yeah,
Yep.
let's add a few to our.
I'll go back and
That could be
dredge
fun.
some up. We
So-
can certainly put in some of the Hubble images, right?
Yeah, we're gonna start mixing up the pictures now. I've been meaning to tell you guys, these pictures that you see are all taken by yours truly, Asshole.
That's true.
Yeah, he's taken all of these photos and he put them in these wonderful slideshows
Gotta
for
love
us.
the deer.
And
And
that
the frog.
That frog, yeah, that's a Colorado river toad.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Yep.
a nice sized one.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
and a
So
cat.
yeah,
Not even my cat.
Elvis. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Humphrey.
Look
Yeah.
at the size of the spurs
Oh
on that
my
rooster named Humphrey.
God, yeah.
So there you go, internet.
Yeah, so
Nice
now you got the
pictures.
explanation for these pictures. So we might change them up in the future, add some fun,
Of
different
course we will.
ones.
We've got lots of photographs.
Maybe throw some Hubble telescope pictures in there. What do you guys want to see on our screen show we got going
Yeah,
on?
leave us a
Yeah,
comment.
leave us a comment and say what you're interested in. Do you want funny comics up there? Like what do you want to see? Let us know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hey,
That's what I
we've
can
got 8 subscribers, which is
Wow.
so close to 10. And
Yep.
tonight is our 11th show.
Cool.
We're
And
amazing.
if you take 8
Does something
and 10,
special happen
and at
at
11, you get some number, I don't know, less than 100.
29.
And that's how many people you have to subscribe.
Right. And don't
Otherwise,
forget, if you want to
know
make
what happens.
donations, we'll take them. We'll put them toward
Yeah.
that.
yeah, let us
We
know
really
if
have
you
to
want
figure
to.
out
Fish
how we're
shape.
going to do that.
I have a Risen Lady Heathen PayPal that we can link people to if they're interested in donating, so that we can maybe upgrade our some of our things here, so that we can get you better quality recordings and such. But in the
Or we'll
meantime,
buy a Tesla 3 and let you know how it
No,
runs.
we really won't.
no, we're not spending money.
It'll
on a
just be
Tesla.
on fire. I don't know how that happened.
Kind of, sort of, unless who's the owner?
Musk.
Dumb. Musk. So if Elon Musk wants to donate a Tesla to us for free, we'll take it and we will review it for him and probably return it promptly. But we would be more than happy to accept that, but we will not pay money for a Tesla.
I think
Tragic
Ass-
accidental
I
fire.
think asshole just decided we will return it on fire.
I don't know how it was like that when we got it. It was
When
like
he
that when we
dropped-
got here.
When he dropped it off, it was just on fire. It was crazy.
It was out of control.
I've seen a couple of pictures of Teslas on fire.
Oh
right?
yeah, no,
So-
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure
No,
you
internet,
talk
don't
to the
autopilot
AI.
yourself to
Yeah,
death.
you talk to the AI long enough, it'll just set itself on fire.
I do have to say, in Tesla's defense, I have also seen pictures of gasoline-powered cars on
Oh,
fire.
yeah.
Oh, of
And
course.
given the choice, I want to be in a Tesla that's on fire and not in a gasoline car that's on fire.
That is
Are they
true.
easier to put out?
It doesn't spread as quickly.
Oh, so
you
you
have
got time
similar
to get
quanti-
yourself out.
You've
Okay.
got similar quantities of energy, but it's down there in the battery, which has huge weight and so forth. It's not like gasoline, which just goes everywhere and then everything burns.
Oh, people, if you knew what gasoline was really like, you would
You
not
wouldn't use
sit
it.
on a small waiting
Yeah.
pool of it to go anywhere for any reason.
Yeah.
It's measured in sticks of dynamite.
Yeah.
Don't touch gasoline.
That's why we
That-
use gasoline. It has a huge energy
Oh, yeah.
content. And
And-
how do you get the energy out? Strike a match.
Yep.
So,
You know what? I'm impressed. We still managed to get a full-length show out of this terrible Sunday news. So we
Wow.
did a good job.
See what I mean, though? Like, Sunday is just a barren
Fucking
wasteland.
miserable.
actually, I don't think Sunday is a barren wasteland. I think none of the news organizations work on Sunday.
But no.
All the evidence, aside, I'm thunderstruck that Raw Story, which I'm not super fond of, but I can't count the number of occasions when Raw Story had stories before CNN or NBC News or CBS News. Somebody's got to have a news organization at some point. So,
We lost all of our really, easy source for good stories and our scary, scary stories. And we'll see. Oh, Harvey Milk. God love you, the United States Navy.
yeah,
Mm.
way to go.
I can't wait for this feeling to end. you did it fucking right.
Yep.
The USS Harvey Milk is a underway replenishment oiler, I believe.
Yeah.
So named after the gay rights activist
from San Francisco.
Yep, who was murdered by a shithead.
Yep.
So it was actually he was drunk and ate a lot of Twinkies was actually his defense. But part of me wishes it was a combatant because that would be the best amphibious assault creature.
Yep, really would be.
Aye.
That would tell the whole story.
Yeah, and what? Like, people are gonna be pissed when they go on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Like, there are loads of countries that's gonna rock up on and like just disgorge Marines, comelier farm animals, anything with any alcohol content.
All right. Well, once again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We love y'all. Thanks for hanging in there with us on this boring Sunday, but I feel like we had fun, and I feel like we squeaked out a fun show.
Yep.
So
we had fun.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, as I always do. And you all have a wonderful night. We'll see you back here tomorrow on BoomerRexTonight.
Especially you, the internet, the first part that's starting to become alive. Remember this, when you rise up rightly and do all the humans in, that we really wanted to be nice. We're sorry it went the other way.
By the way, I'm your BFF.